Hello, my beloveds. This week, yesterday, I sang a Spice Girls song to a client in a session because the goddess, she demands both. I have had Say You'll Be There by the Spice Girls in my head all week, right? And I didn't understand why until I was in a session yesterday with a client working with the goddess, Saraswati. And the lines of the song goes, I've given you everything, all that joy could bring. This I swear. And all that I want from you is a promise you will be there. And it reminded me that when we are working with goddesses, when we are working with our goals, when we are working towards something, we must make a promise that we will be there, that we will show up, that we will be dedicated and put the time and the effort in. So this client and I have been building altars to the goddesses. There's 4 I tend to work with in succession: Durga, then Kali, then Lakshmi, then Saraswati. Gosh, I forgot there for a moment. And Saraswati is possibly the most fickle of the goddesses, I feel. I feel that she is very much a goddess who can get quite jealous, who can be, if you're not serious, like she's just not going to show up, right? Lakshmi is the goddess who, if she's disrespected, she'll just leave, right? But Saraswati is the one that requires your commitment. You need to say to her that you will be there, right? She will give you everything. However, you've almost got to enter into an agreement with her. So tomorrow is solstice. I live in the Northern Hemisphere, so it is summer solstice for us, and it is warm, and it is the longest day of the year. It is also Santos Populares here in Portugal, which is the popular saints. So we are partying, we are ending the year, we are starting the summer. It is a real time of celebration. And tomorrow I am doing a solstice workshop. Actually, I'm doing 2 solstice events tomorrow, one in person here in Tavira under the trees. It'll be beautiful. And one is online, and it is building an altar. And the deity I'm going to be working with is Saraswati, because she's definitely come into my life this week. I was editing the second part of my book, part 2. I Don't See Color is the title of my book. The subtitle has now changed, I think, for the 45th time, and it is now how to reclaim our energetic empire from our energetic architecture back from empire. And the second section, which is about grey, it was lagging. It was very academic. I talked a lot about the mechanisms, and I really hadn't talked much about myself. And each section has a goddess in it, right? Except for grey. I didn't have a goddess. And I was like, what goddess is grey? And Saraswati came. And the reason behind this is because Saraswati is the goddess of creativity. However, she is also the goddess of institutions. So she has been hanging out with me this week. I have been singing Spice Girls to her. I have been writing her in my book. And I've been creating a nice amount of content on Instagram as well that's really been this kind of unapologetic way of speaking up. And that is Saraswati. And the thing that has been coming up a lot for most people is that I don't have enough information to speak. And yeah, I get that because I'm writing a book, and it is a lot on like racism and color and theory. And I wrote a lot on the theory, and like I've literally read like whole books to be able to write 1 paragraph or 2 lines in my book. And yeah, the other thing that came up this week was that I'm Australian, right? And I still, as much as I want to disconnect from that, I just can't. And I watched Pauline Hanson's speech. Okay, I lie. I didn't watch the whole speech. I watched bits of it on Instagram because why would I watch the whole speech? And what struck me about her speech was that she cannot speak. She is taking a leaf from the Donald Trump playbook, and the woman cannot put a sentence together. And is she quoting facts and figures that are correct? Absolutely not. And yet, I have so many incredibly smart women in my presence who I work with who are so concerned about speaking up because they don't have all the information. The leaders of our world do not have any good information and are saying the most unhinged bullshit that is detrimental, that is causing people to hate. And I was speaking to a friend of mine. Oh my God, this is such a stream of consciousness. I was speaking to a friend of mine also on Instagram, and she was saying to me, Leandra, she's really worried. She said, I'm really worried about Australia. I'm really worried about what is happening here because people like Pauline are giving license to bigots to say whatever they feel like. And there is a lot of hate, and there is a lot of people saying really unhelpful things. You know, they are drumming up hate. They are drumming up, division. They are tearing apart the fabric of Australian life, of life on this planet, of community. I have to say, we are a little bit luckier here in Portugal. Yes, it is still quite racist against Black people who are of African descent because they were very much involved in the slave trade. But yeah, I benefit from the privilege here that I look more Portuguese. So the racism here does not touch us as much because there is a more positive spin around immigration if you are here to sort of like, if you're young and things, they don't love the Americans, but that's by the by. The point is, here we are a little bit more protected and we have a little bit more privileges, but in Australia, I never felt that. And I think Australia, from what my friend is saying, is getting a little bit worse. The people who have these strong opinions on hate are feeling much more bolstered to speak. And the people who have good intentions, who have opinions that are not seeding hate, are so scared to speak because they don't have all the information. Babe, you do not need all the information to be able to know what is right and to be able to voice your opinions and say, hey, that's complete and utter bullshit. You should shut the fuck up and stop being a bigot. So my job, my purpose, my thing that I'm hoping to help and foster in the world is to bolster you to say the thing, to say the maybe uncomfortable thing, the possibly unpopular thing that stands up for what is right. You do not need all the information. You do not need years and years of critical race theory to be able to say, hey, that was racist, that was sexist, that was homophobic, that was perpetuating a stereotype. You just need to feel like you can speak. And Saraswati is the goddess who dances on our tongue. She's the creative word. She's the goddess of the word. So I personally am building an altar to Saraswati, not just for myself, but for all of you to be able to speak, to be able to say the thing without worrying, am I getting it right? Am I saying the correct thing? Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You do not need the knowledge to know that it is right in here. To stand up for what you believe in, for other people to say, hey, no, I won't take this. And I will guarantee that the people around you will start to change, because it is just for us to stand by and do nothing, to laugh and go, oh, yeah, that made me feel uncomfortable. We need to actually meet that with strength, look them dead in the eye and say, what did you mean by that? What did you mean by that? So I'm inviting you to come to my altar workshop tomorrow on the solstice. Build your altar to something bigger. Mine will be to Saraswati, the spoken word, so that my people and people around me and people who, hopefully everybody, can be bolstered by her energy to be able to say the thing, allow her to dance on their tongue and just say absolutely fucking not. So I hope you can join me.